Hi, my name's Andy, and this is Pappy's Perspective. What this channel is going to be about, what I'd like it to succeed at, is introducing or promoting critical thinking. That is, how to understand how we got here, the situation we are in politically, pandemically, however else, and how not to head down the same path, most importantly when we get out of the situation that we're in regards to the pandemic and other situations that we are dealing with pretty intensely right now. What I want this channel to be is not only to show what critical thinking is, but to show how it's important in helping have a sense of control in this democracy in America. This involves, first of all, letting people know what critical thinking is and how it's used. What it is, basically, is a skill. Nothing to do with intelligence or being smarter or dumber than the next person, but it's a skill like any other skill. And it's a skill that if it was much more promoted in this country, that we would have avoided a lot of problems we've run into of late and over the last large part of my life. It's also something we have to consider because this lack of this skill has been the fact that people lack the skill has been used by people who desire power and who want to control things for their own benefit, almost always to the detriment of others. The whole 1% thing, income inequality, climate, a whole host of issues. What I want to do, the way I want to present this, is show different issues of the day, from immigration to maybe climate, to how the political process, what government is or what government isn't, what presidents can do, what presidents should do, what presidents can't do. So, and I'm going to try to explain how the lack of critical thinking has hurt us and how different aspects of it can be applied to these issues so we can better participate in our democracy, in our country, and you know what, get us in a position to better decide what we want, as opposed to falling for someone else's vision or letting someone get away with an argument that gets us to vote a certain way that actually is not good for us, but only good for them. Couple points I want to cover while I do this is we need to know the difference between data collection and data processing, which what critical thinking is. It's one thing that we've gotten pretty good at, I guess, and especially with the tools that we have available as far as Google and such, is gathering facts, or what we consider facts, or what we think are facts. More on that in later episodes. And data processing, which is basically how to use the facts, how to analyze the facts, how to make use of the facts to determine whether something that someone is telling us is in fact true, whether the arguments they're making are legit, are they just trying to con us, essentially. We need to learn to analyze, basically, to think for ourselves and not rely on others to do the thinking for us, because most of the time that's exactly what they want us to do. We have to learn the difference between what a fact and what an opinion is. For instance, there's a statement of reality is a fact. That sounded really deep. But in essence, what it is water boils at such and such a temperature, 100 degrees Celsius. So, however, uh, gas stoves make water boil faster than electric stoves. That's an opinion, and that needs to be analyzed. And that's where critical thinking comes in, because you may accept that argument of which makes it boil faster, but if you don't know that, wait a minute, that's an opinion and not a fact, so on a much complex level, that's what everyone's trying to do, especially when it comes to income inequality and stuff. What you need to be able to do, too, using critical thinking, or what it'll allow you to do, is you consider the source. And you can look at an argument, you figure out who's making this argument or who's presenting this policy, and what is it they're trying to get you to do or allow them to do. What's being sold. Um, and you also, by using critical thinking, you can figure out stuff like what's missing from their argument or what facts are being excluded. Does it make sense what they're saying? It also is important by using critical thinking to be able to see the big or the little picture. Are they trying to limit your vision? Are they trying to get you to look at a real narrow point? For instance, the big wall debate we're going through. It's not another time. Why are they making you focus on just the immigrants? And is there something bigger you should consider? Like, wait a minute, why aren't they talking about the people that hire the immigrants? Also, the other way around. So, do you need to back off? The other way around too goes, are they just throwing on a whole bunch of other stuff to confuse you? Are they adding on details like, wait a minute, it's not relevant what kind of clothing or what kind of country these immigrants are coming from? Or, but is it all a bunch of details and irrelevant things that are taking your focus away? So in other words, with critical thinking, you'll be able to look at an argument someone is making and ask you, are they telling you enough? Or are they trying to, like, confuse you with a whole bunch of unnecessary or irrelevant facts? And that's how I'll present issues of the day, and that's how I'll be trying to illustrate how critical thinking can help you. The reason critical thinking, and that's why critical thinking is actively being discouraged nowadays. You actually heard there are some people in Texas, some Republican, surprise people in Texas that wanted to, like, prevent critical thinking being taught in schools, because they said their argument was, well, if the kids learn how to think critically, they won't just accept what we're teaching them as true. It's like, that's the point of it. They want to hide the man behind the curtain, so to speak. If you think critically, they can't just say anything they want to get their way. And all the time, if they're doing that, that's because they want something to work out for them, and most likely it ain't working out for you. So the lessons I want to give, some of the main points of the lessons I'm going to try to give or show is, first and foremost, facts can cause beliefs. But beliefs can never cause facts. Facts have no politics. Reality has no ideology. What I'm saying there is, I'll try to point out what a fact is. And facts don't care what you believe. Facts don't need you to be believed. Gravity is gravity. If you totally believe that gravity is the earth giving you angel hugs, holding you close to its bosom, doesn't matter how devoutly, firmly you believe it. If it ain't true, it ain't true. Your belief has no effect. Your belief is irrelevant. Now, facts can cause beliefs. I believe that if I'm not careful, gravity will, when walking down the steps, and if I trip, gravity will cause my neck to break if I fall. That's a fact-based belief, and that causes me to be careful going down the stairs. So, I'll try to, through issues, I'll try to show, when discussing issue, what is a belief and what is a fact, and how to notice the difference. You cannot be conned unless you allow yourself to be conned. And that's kind of why the critical think is important too. You do have to do the work, so to speak, the mental process, so that you're not manipulated, so you're not taken advantage of. If you just take people at their word, and that's what's been happening, if you allow them to frame issues in a way that are spin or that try to get you to think that their argument is valid because, well, they're good Christians or they're patriotic Americans or whatever, and they play off that identity that you have, and that so therefore if someone questions their argument, therefore they're questioning your beliefs, therefore they're attacking you. If you don't know how to distinguish what they are saying as true or legit, or if you're not able to analyze what they are saying, you can be manipulated. And that's how we got to where we are in a lot of ways. Is people not, and again, it's not a matter of intelligence, it's a matter of skill. A skill that I see some very smart, intelligent people fall for arguments that are just so bad because they haven't learned how to think critically. And the thing is, like a bad magic trick, a con, or a politician trying to get you to vote against your self-interest, in other words, vote in such a way that it's good for them, or whoever they really represent, and bad for you. If you know how the trick is done, if you know how the con works, so in other words, if you know that a certain technique is a bad argument, but it sounds good, it'll be a lot harder to be manipulated or tricked into being taken advantage of. So, what I'm going to try to do, take some issues of the day, kind of walk through the way I kind of look at them, what comes to mind, what I consider, and how I consider it, and hopefully you'll get some basics out of it, how to deal with the issues that are important to you, how not to fall automatically, how not to be manipulated, how not to get to a place that we are now, where a lot of people are hurting, because a lot of people have fallen for people with bad intent. And if you can't see that bad intent, if you can't see the manipulation, if you don't have the skills or tools necessary to detect them, we end up where we are today on many issues. So what I'm basically trying to do is make you a better, more responsible member of our democracy, a better citizen, and a person that has more control. over their own lives and helps control their country for the better of everyone. All right. If you like what I'm showing, if you're interested in what if this sounds like it's something that you'd be into or something you'd like to follow more, please subscribe. Also, please share. Knowledge is power, and I like to have the people, like the power to belong to the people. And the only way we're going to do that is if we learn how to use our knowledge and use the information that we have. All right, I'll talk to you next time.